Is it worth producing the content or not? This week's Content Classroom is all about the idea that we all might have fantastic inspiration for content, but actually a lot of it doesn't make it to production because we never prioritize it. And I've been through this recently myself. Just this week, I'm thinking about a new piece of content that we're doing. I'm doing some market research around podcasting and helping new podcasters to understand the things that they should be worried about versus the things that they probably are worried about and focused on, and they're not the same things. And I've got a few concerns around this content, right? First off, I'm really busy at work. I've got lots of client projects on. We're consistently busy at the moment, which is a great problem, but it means that I'm struggling to prioritize creating my own content. Standard marketer's problem, right? We all have these problems. And the reason I struggle with that is because it's not generating me revenue today, right? Even if I create the content today, it's probably not going to create me a new client right now, today, but it might at some point in the future. The other thing is I've got a balance of shiny object. Ooh, I want to get involved in this straight away, which I know will cut out all the other work that I'm doing and I will hyper focus on that one thing. And I've also got procrastination going on, in which case, this is extra work, Paul. Do you really want to be doing it? You've already got loads of stuff on, but if you can just put it off till tomorrow. And there's all these battles going on, even inside my head, right? And I talked about this with a bunch of friends this morning on a mastermind group that I'm in. And the thing that I came away with was twofold, right? There's two things that I came away with, which is one, I discovered myself while I was talking to people, and it's about framing it. And I asked, what if I create one piece of content and I get a client from that, or at least get a prospective conversation? Maybe I'll get a couple of clients out of it. Maybe I get a referral from that. If the content's good enough, that's what it might do. And can I really afford to take the gamble not to create the content? Which absolutely, I could feel the light bulb go off inside me like, yes, it's important that we create this content. But the other battle that I have is the danger that I just go all into it and ignore everything else whilst everything burns around me for the focus of creating that content. And there's two parts to that answer. One came from the meeting, one I've thought about since. So the thing that came to me during the meeting via the other people in there was, so don't produce the content until you've collected all the materials together, because there's an initial interview, then there's a one in 6 months, and my temptation would be to talk about this initial interview first. But actually a lot of that is kind of irrelevant until we have the answers at the end after the 6-month interview. Looking back on how you felt during interview one, how do you now feel? And that's a very important part of the content. So that's something to think about is, can we pause, collect the materials together and create the project and formulate it in our mind, but not actually produce it until it's ready, until it's ripe. And the other side to that I thought about afterwards is that it really needs to be efficient. It needs to be effective. But before you create the content, the project always seems bigger than it actually is. And I'd be willing to bet, in my mind right now, even as somebody who does this for a living, in my mind, I'd be willing to bet that I'm thinking of it as being taking hours and hours of my time, and it's going to be really hard to produce. Whereas in actual fact, even for me, it's probably only an hour or two of editing, right? And I make this big thing out of it because I want to procrastinate on it. I don't want to do it. And I appreciate that it probably taking your average person a lot longer than a couple of hours to do all of that, but it's probably still not as long as you think it would take. It's just the fact that one side of your brain is telling you don't want to do it. And you've got to put that side of your brain to bed, otherwise you'll never get anything produced. So takeaways from today are, one, talk about your content ideas with your network. Incredibly valuable input that you'll get from them. Ask their opinions, ask them what your worries and concerns are about it, and make sure you listen to their feedback. But two, your content needs to be effective, efficient, and productive. It needs to tell the whole story, but it absolutely can't come at the cost of your client's delivery and your workload. So you've got to be able to balance the two. For some of you, that means pausing producing the content for a while, in which case make sure you put something in the diary as to when it should be produced. And for others, it might be a case that you think, do you know what, in 3 months' time, I'm still not going to be any better with my client workload. If the content is that important to you and your clients are worth enough money, then having somebody produce the content for you might be the option, right? So just think about that. Is it worth, like if you got one client out of this, what's that worth to you as a business? So should you be outsourcing the content so that it actually gets produced rather than sits on that shelf gathering dust? Lots of thoughts there. Let me know what you think. Always open for conversations. And I hope it's got your creative juices flowing. I'll speak to you next week. Content Classroom. Bye-bye.